So in this tutorial, you're going to learn about how to make a pictograph. And the pictograph is a very interesting graph. It's not one that's used very commonly, but it's a fun one to make. It's a graph that's represented using pictures. So if we look at this example, a few things you're going to notice. That there's a scale or a legend at the bottom. So sometimes a picture will represent one person or one thing, or sometimes it will represent multiple people or multiple things. So for example here, a full apple represents 10 and a half apple represents 5. Notice though that we have a title, varieties of apples in a food store. We have our labels, and then we have our pictures that represent our graph. Notice also it is nice and neat and organized. It's not just random pictures here and there. So let's go through an example of how to make a pictograph. So let's pretend that this is the data that you were given. And we'll notice that 5 people said they liked basketball, and 3 volleyball, 6 soccer, and 4 hockey. And so what we have to do is make a graph of this. So for example, what we're going to do is in below, we're going to say, we'll call it favorite sports. And we're going to list our sports. So we've got basketball, volleyball, soccer, and hockey. Again, using things like rulers and graph paper does make things look a little bit neater. So for example, we might put this in a table. Again, I'm not using a ruler in those things. You should. I'm just doing this as a quick example. And so maybe it's going to look something like this, where we split it into a table. Then we have to decide on a legend. So if I look at my numbers, they're small enough that I probably could say that one symbol represents one thing. So for example, I might decide that a little stick figure represents one person. So if 5 people like basketball, I need to put in 5 stick figures. Whoops, that one moved on me. Now remember, you can pick whatever you want. You can be as creative or as uncreative as I am for what you choose. Volleyball was 3. Keeps moving on me. So that one's going to look a little messed up because there's an extra line, but that's okay. So volleyball, we have 3 people. Soccer, we have 6. So hopefully these ones don't move around on me. And hockey, we have 4. Sometimes what people do in making a pictograph is they choose a picture that's representative of what the question is. So if it was a sport question, they might choose to make like a ball or something like that as their little picture. It really doesn't matter. But that's an example of what a pictograph is and how you would go about making a pictograph.